this world is different and it's not achievable for Western people. It's just I realized, when did I ever advise my customers and my clients to do this?
Mm.
Never, ever, because I didn't have this context. So I need to start approach this differently, because when I look back 10 years before Japan, I rarely had impact on my customers' processes, business, whatever. There was rarely an impact. Just, I was happy with the invoice I was sending, that was it. And then having this context of like the Japanese leaders and Japanese companies shifted my approach, shifted my optics towards my work.
Welcome to Chain of Learning, where the links of leadership and learning unite. This is your connection for actionable strategies and practices to empower you to build a people-centered learning culture, get results, and expand your impact so that you and your team can leave a lasting legacy. I'm your host and fellow learning enthusiast, Katie Anderson. Maybe you've been there too, implementing the tools, making operational improvements, checking all the boxes, and wondering why the results feel, well, flat. Why the change doesn't stick, why the same problems keep coming back. Here's the thing, lean and improvement tools alone don't create transformation. People do. And creating a meaningful connection between the purpose of the tools and the real problems that people experience is essential to bring them along on the journey. In today's episode of Chain of Learning, I'm sharing the story of someone who felt exactly that and what happened when he decided to lead differently. I'm joined by Josef Procházka, a lean consultant from the Czech Republic, whose journey completely shifted in the last few years. Like most practitioners, he started his career focused on tools, metrics, and delivering results. In fact, as you'll hear, he hated lean at first. Something felt off. He wasn't having the impact that he wanted or that his clients truly needed. Everything changed when he read my book, Learning to Lead, Leading to Learn, and joined 2 of my Japan Leadership Experience programs. The experiences weren't just eye-opening, they were heart-opening. This wasn't the interview that we originally planned. It actually was a prep call for what we thought would be the actual podcast recording. But what Joseph shared was so honest, so powerful, and so real that I knew I had to share it with you too. You'll hear how his joining my Japan leadership experiences changed his perspective, how he reframed 5S, a workplace organization method, into something more meaningful and more impactful, and why the heart of lean isn't about tools, it's about people. He opens up about how he went from simply doing lean to becoming a more intentional, impactful coach for his clients, and how that shift is now creating real transformation in their organizations too. Whether you're an internal leader, external consultant, or just someone who wants to show up with more intention to lead change in your organization, this episode will help you reflect on your own path and how you might walk it differently. Let's dive into Joseph's story of learning, unlearning, and leading with purpose. How did the experience of the 2 trips in Japan and all the work you've been doing in between as well, like how has that influenced that change that you've had from how you might have shown up before and just sort of, I guess what would you have, a year and a half ago before you joined either of the Japan experiences, how would you approach that situation? And then what influenced you to see that and totally look at it differently?
Yeah, that will be like totally different Joseph. That will be like, oh, this is what you want. Okay, let's do this. I would be just mechanically taking what the customer wants and just doing what they want, like to the T, basically. Because our customer before, for me, our customer was the God, who already knows what they want, which is not true at all. And now, after, for example, after the first trip, I started to ask more about the context, and why do they want that thing, where it belongs. For example, many companies, they come to us and they ask for SMET. They want their changeovers to be fast, and before I would say, okay, how fast? And just do the SMET, and try to deliver. But now, no, I said, why did you choose SMET? What is the context? Where do you want to go? What is this SMET part of? I'm trying to understand the business. I'm trying to understand their need better, and usually they're they're paralyzed by the question because they don't know. They also like, oh, just SMET. SMET. I was like, yeah, I know SMET, but I don't know why you want it. And they're like, nobody asked that question. Why would you? So, and they kind of appreciate it, and I feel like they appreciate not only this approach of wanting to know more, but I'm educating them already,
Yeah.
even though the cooperation didn't start yet. They find out, oh, there's something we still don't know, and they're like, let me get back to you with this, you know.
Mhm.
And then this is the answer I get all the time, you know. Let me get back to you with this because they don't know. And that's so
Mm.
funny, you know. They ask for expensive consultant, and then they don't know why they need him. This is so funny.
Yeah. What was that? What were those aha shifts that you had that like has helped you then
Mm.
ask these more questions? Like what was that transformation for you personally? I remember vividly a year ago in May, you're like, during the program in Japan, you stood up and said, I realize I've been doing all this wrong. I need to
Yeah.
totally change my approach as a consultant. Like, what do you, if you think back to the first time you were in Japan, like what were those moments on the program that really just shifted that for you? Because I love hearing like you're showing up in the really most helpful way for your clients now, right? Rather than just doing
Yeah.
what they said, you're actually helping them understand what problem they need to solve and like their role in it. Yeah. So what were the if you can think back, what was that? What were those moments of transformation for you?
Oh, the very first thing was also Mifune and Avex. I remember how they talked about, especially Mr. Umemura, how he was talking about the difference between lean and TPS,
Mm,
and touched the Hoshinkanri aspect of what they're doing. And he didn't talk about KPIs. He didn't talk about basically anything else than people and creating energy,
mm,
you know. And this is something that, was absolutely new to me.
mm,
And I was thinking, it made me thinking because I thought, okay, this is Mifune. But then AVEX also, people are the center. We work with people. People are the treasure of the company. They are not the cost. I'm missing something here. I'm missing the big picture because throughout my career, my 10 years of career of consultant, I never touched that topic really.
mm,
Everything was about like more higher efficiency, lower downtime, better costs for a product, whatever, lowering the number of employees, firing people, all that. Just, it made sense until in Japan it made sense, less, you know and for me it was like, what is the bigger picture? And then it helped me to immerse myself into conversations with you, with Tim, with Mr. Yoshino when he was available back then. And it just totally like put my world into tornado, and everything was just mixed up until I finally realized that it's not that, this world is different and it's not achievable for Western people. It's just I realized, when did I ever advise my customers and my clients to do this?
mm,
Never ever, because I didn't have this context. So I need to start approach this differently, because if I when I look back 10 years before Japan, I rarely had impact on my customers, processes, business, whatever. There was rarely an impact. Just, I was happy with the invoice I was sending. That was it. And then, having this context of like the Japanese leaders and Japanese companies, it totally changed. It shifted my approach, shifted my optics towards my work. And I thought to myself, I don't want to be that consultant anymore. You know, I wanna. I would love to have at least a one company in Czech Republic that would be close to this. And I can die.
well, not yet. No.
Yeah, so that was like unbelievable like shift, and nobody can coach you this in Czech, from my,
Mm,
from people close to me, around me, from my work environment. Nobody can coach me because they don't know about this. They
mm,
have never seen leaders talking about this, doing this, maybe talking, maybe yes, but doing this, performing in this, different environment. And then I remember Ogura,
mm,
Miss Ogura in Ogura Steel, when she said, we well, kudos to her, leadership style, leaving all that she had previously in her life and going into like heavy industry, and changing what was there from her father and so on. That was by itself, huge inspiration. And then then she tells you, oh yeah, by the way, we have almost like 4,000 kaizens for this year, for from 360 employees.
mm,
It's just all of a sudden you have, this leadership, this type of leadership, you have connected to an unbelievable performance
Hmm.
that everybody won, and then, me, from my point of view, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I
Hmm.
would like to work on. This is exactly what I want to deliver, because I know if people are so connected to the business and so connected to the continuous improvement and continuous learning, that they deliver from 360 people, you get almost 4,000 suggestions for improvement. That's unbelievable, and then I can talk results. If anybody asks me, why should we care about people, because then you get this. It's like, aha. So now I have also the reference. I have aha moment for my clients,
Hmm.
which is super rare.
You had this huge personal transformation about how you
Yeah.
see your work, how you see what the impact of what lean is. It's not, of course you want the results, but it's about the people, the people first. And you
Yeah.
created a program. I remember you came back from Japan and like almost instantly you reframed how you approach 5S and
Oh
reframed
yeah.
it as meaningful 5S. Tell me
True.
tell me a bit about that approach, about it, and what you learned in Japan that helped you connect it back to meaning and meaningfulness.
Well, I was thinking, where's the first thing I can apply this? Where's the first thing, let's say, that is as less invasive to my work as
Mm,
possible? Because I was still not sure how I can implement this. And I must say, I was really scared
mm,
to have these discussions with my clients. The 5S, was something I was working on at the moment back then. This is something that I had, uh, like I felt like I'm not doing well, because it was all about cleaning, doing all these 5S's, like, just basically making the appearance of the workplace better. And I thought maybe I can improve this, because my client also, the feedback was, yeah, but we're just cleaning, we're just making it look nice. And people's feedback during these workshops was like, why do we do this? It has no impact, it has no meaning, for us. Okay, we make it clean, but 2 weeks from now it's gonna be mess again. And I thought, it bogged my mind. And when Miss Ogura was talking about using the 5S for the suggestions for improvement, it hit, it connected. I was like, maybe this is an opportunity for me, but I really need to work on this. So I used all my notes, I used all my, to programming, to check, like totally. I refurbished the whole thing for me, but I still didn't want to make it like so Japanese. I remember sitting like half an hour also with Mr. Yoshino about 5S. Again, he was explaining stuff and all that. So I took my time, and I tried to make it not only like super Japanese, but also make it understandable for Western people, which was kind of like the biggest enigma for me, But but I created something. Let's say I created something. I still didn't call it 5S, but it was an approach that took what I learned in Mifune, what I learned in Ogura. And the very nice thing for me was that even companies with very advanced 5S, they were not looking nice. They don't look nice. They function perfectly, which was the mind shift here, And so I thought to myself, maybe the people thing and really
mm,
engaged leadership and functional processes, if I put it all together, maybe I can create something. And I created something, which I was still like it was still like evolving, but I tried to teach it. I tried, there was all of a sudden there was a client, and they were like, we want to do the 5S with you. I was like, okay, it's gonna take us 3 days. Like, what do you mean 3 days? It's like, if we want to do it properly, we need at least 3 days, and we will not finish. I will just teach you in your processes about how you can improve your process and your company, your work, with the 5S approach. It's like, okay, this sounds interesting. We were thinking like half a day, but let's do this. So, and they were keen. They were like, okay, maybe we're gonna learn something from this guy. And I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but let's try this. And after the 3 days of unbelievable energy, unbelievable cooperation. I even, there were people, they were already, uh, like damaged, you know, from previous attempts with 5S, TPM, all these, different tools. So when they came, I remember they came to the table, to the meeting room, and they were like, again, we did this so many times before. Why again? Different guy, just, now we need to spend 3 days away from work. This is our work is gonna, is not gonna move for 3 days. This has no sense. We don't want to be here. So this was the team I had, working with me. And after 3 days, everybody was aligned. They loved it, and they came to me and they said, for the first time ever, we did something that made sense. And
Mm,
there was they said, this is, we finally know what 5S is probably for, and how we can use this. It was put into the context of their business. And their manager, their operations manager said, Joseph, this is the most meaningful thing we did in years. And it hit me like, oh, meaningful 5S, that could work.
mhm,
And funny thing is that I did that for another customer who really, and I already like fixed some bugs and stuff. I improved it a little bit, and they eternalized this.
mm,
And they became a, showroom of 5S. How, they took it to another level even without me. And I thought, maybe this is really something. I'm onto something,
mm,
really. And it was still 5S, and they came to me and they said, this is really meaningful for all of us, for the company, for just, it finally, man, makes sense. I was like, okay, this is something from above. Maybe it was, let's call it meaningful 5S. And they loved it. They said, yes, please do, because this is, you need to differentiate. It's not the same 5S as before. And funny fact, 1 to 3 weeks ago, I was at the company who never had like lean training by itself, but the people there were from different companies, lots of like automotive, medical. They had trainings before, but not in that particular company. So there was like people from all of different trades, you know and I was there for 5S. We did 2 days of meaningful 5S, and they told me, you know, it finally makes sense. Even the people who were like working with this for years, who were trained from automotive and all these, they said, this is totally different approach, and we love it. It makes sense to us. And so it keeps me in the loop of working on it,
mm.
keeping developing it. But I know I'm doing something that is right.
I love that word meaningful, and
Mm,
I see that as we miss the meaningfulness, the true,
mm.
like, why is it important to people? Like, we push, we being like, the lean consultants, or in whether you're internal or external, like, we're so excited by the tools because we know the tools can work
Mm.
and get results. But we're like, as you said, before these experiences in Japan, you just like do the tool, let's implement
Yeah.
SMED, like let's do 5S, but without people feeling a meaningful connection to purpose and why it's important to them, or why it's meaningful to them, it's not going to sustain. And then maybe you're getting compliance, but like not the true ownership and engagement. And so I love that word meaningfulness, because that's what it should all be about, right? Like, this all
Oh
should
yeah.
be meaningful, right? And having a
Mm.
meaningful impact on individuals, on company, on industry. So I
So very
really
true.
value that story, and how the time in Japan helped you reconnect to the meaningfulness of all of this. One of the most inspiring parts of what Joseph changed in his approach to lean after his first experience with me in Japan is how he took his learning and turned it into something new, starting with one of the most foundational practices of lean in the Toyota production system, 5S.
Before I would just, let's do 5S. No effect. Well, dear customer, that's on you. You should give me, better tools. You should give me better people. You should give me better process. I just work the tools.
Yeah.
Nowadays, no. I take much more accountability for my clients, success. I take it that, I'm going to be as best consultant I can be. And I tell them from the beginning, I'm going to be the best Joseph that there ever was. But I need you, to meet me halfway. I remember during the reflections, there was, I think it was Mo Lee who said, meet them where they are. That also, turned my table a little bit, because, meet them where they are
Mm,
means not let have them meet me where I am. I need to meet them where they
mm,
are, and I need to maybe sometimes show them where they are in order to know,
mm,
how to work with me. That just proved to be the truth.
yeah,
In many cases, they hire me for something, but when we start a conversation, they learn that they are in a different place. They learn that they need
mm,
different tools, or they learn that they need to slow down even, which they don't like. Everybody, in Western world, we're so like short-term sighted. We want
mm,
everything right now. We don't have patience. We don't have this long-term view. The 100-year calendar is just, every time I show it to someone, they're like, and why should I care? What is this for? It's like, let me tell you a story. I was
mm,
like, and sometimes they tell me, this will never work here,
mm,
because our corporate, we are aligned to 3 months. So basically every quarter we need to report the results. I'm like, yeah, do you think this, that you're successful? They're like, no, this is super stressful. So I'm giving them also, with this approach, I am giving them the rain check basically on these KPIs and all these results, because they can say then, but the consultant told us. So I put the weight on me, because I have nowadays, and maybe that's also thanks to the confidence that I gained after the two trips to Japan. That I have no problem telling the CEO that he's wrong. Absolutely no problem there nowadays.
You have this experiences of truly going to see and experience that has given you the confidence to do the right thing, truly, that's we talk about that, with Tim on one of the previous podcast
Oh yeah,
episodes, that, like, do the right thing from a leadership perspective, but it's also do the right thing from a consultancy. Like, how do you have the confidence to hold up the mirror, as you said, to tell the client that what they think is the answer may not be the answer, and to really show them a different way that is the right
absolutely.
way.
Absolutely. Mr. Yoshino told me, leaders need to be patient. And you, Joseph, you are a consultant. You need to be twice, patient as they are. I was like, I'm not gonna get them anywhere, because but I'm slowly getting, the perspective that he wanted to, show me with
Yeah.
this.
We have to be patient in our own learning, right?
True.
So,
Very
you
true.
came back after, most people see the Japan experience as a once in a lifetime opportunity. And yeah, you're shaking your head. No, you almost immediately, like, actually on the first, that during the first trip that you went on, you said, I'm coming back next year. And you were like the first, the first to pay to secure your spot. So tell me what led you to say, I need to come back, and I need to bring some of my clients with me.
The first thing was that I was basically living in my notes, really. And I realized that I have many new questions that were still unanswered, because I was
Mm,
trying, really, even through 5S and different let's say different corporations
mm,
with clients. I started to immerse in this world anew, basically, and many new questions arised. And I wanted answers, but I didn't want answers from the Western world, because this is not where the question arised. So I thought,
mm,
I need to go back to Japan. I need to meet with these leaders again. I need to meet Katie. I need to meet Tim. And when you said Mr. Yoshino is going to be with us the whole week, I was like, this is freaking gold. I need to talk with him as much as possible. So I used basically all the time that he had for me. There were plenty of people who wanted to talk with him as well. But the the very first minute that you said, let's go again, I said, yeah, by all means. I saw it as an investment in my learning,
mm,
investment for my clients. Even, if I want to be better in this job, I'm not going to be better only like through like repeating the same thing all over again. I need to evolve. And I saw this as what maybe the biggest opportunity from the whole year schedule that I had, for me to grow and to evolve into
mm,
something better, something that I hope I'm now trying to
mm.
also reach. I'm not complete, not at all. I'm seriously thinking about coming back again.
Ine, I'd love to have you.
Yeah. Yeah. I realized when I came back from Japan and I wrote about it on social media, that was super annoying to me. All of a sudden, all of these other consultants were like, "Yeah, I was in Japan again as well. I was there. I was there." All of a sudden, everybody was like expert on Japan. People were like 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks in Japan. They were on podcasts. They were like experts on living in Japan, experts on Japanese companies, experts on TPS. It's like, I don't want to be these people. I don't want to be that guy who comes from Japan and knows it all.
Mhm.
No, it just it put me back into my student shoes. I was knocked hard, because I thought after 10 years of consultancy, I should know something. I knew enough that I don't know enough, and I need to learn from from the source. I need to
Mm.
learn from the place where it all originated.
Well, we talked about how, so much of the program is the same. We always mix it up a bit, but there's a
Mm,
lot of the same experiences. And I've gone to many of these companies now over the last decade, many, many,
yeah,
many times. And as I've done at least 7 cohorts of the trip of the program and have, visited other times. And no matter how many times I visit these companies, I learn something new every time because they're evolving as well, right? In their
yeah,
approach and what they're doing. And or as you said, you might see things at the surface in the beginning, and then you start to understand the deeper levels of what's really going on. And so I am just so like, I love going back to the same places as well as new
mhm,
places because the depth of learning happens and the evolution of what they're practicing and how they're dealing with their real challenges. Companies aren't just like putting on a show; they're opening their doors to say, "This is what's really happening right now for us."
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I remember, I had my part of that aha puzzle, was also seeing you asking questions. Because as you said, you were there many times and you still ask. You should be there like looking in your phone, just okay, I know all this. But you're
Never, never.
listening,
That
you're
would be
paying.
so rude.
Yeah, yeah. But still you're paying attention. You are there. You are, listening, and you are asking questions, And I thought to myself, okay, Katie was here where I think we were like cohort 7.
This last one,
I think
yes. Mm,
yeah, the last one was Corsa. So I thought she's been here many times, even many times before, and maybe with for different purposes, and she still asks questions. That means something. That means that there's much more to learn here. And I think everybody from the very first encounter with all of the leaders in every company, and meeting you, Tim, Mr. Shino, the people would have been like stupid if they would think that all of a sudden, okay, from one trip I know it all. No, I think the first trip is just an eye opener for the people.
mm,
I think it's
mm,
it's more of a okay. I'm in Japan. Everybody's excited about being in a different world, and learning all that stuff. I think it's something that's it's just a platform. It's just the
mm,
first encounter that you need to work from.
mm,
So I'm seriously thinking about going to Japan many, many more times with maybe different mission, different questions, different meeting even different people. Thanks to you, I'm connected to you, to Tim, to Mr. Yoshino, even. And
mm.
that's just super like that. That was something I would not dare thinking about 2 years ago. Definitely
Right.
not.
Well, and I feel so connected to you and everyone who comes too because we spend this immersive, week, and
Oh
now
yeah.
you and I 2 weeks together. We really get to know each other, not, on a deep way. One of the things that gives me so much joy, not only in curating and putting together a great learning experience for people, is the real genuine human connection and the connection that happens with each of the cohorts too. And for you to get to know Mr. Yoshino and of course Tim Wilput, who's been a good friend of mine for almost a decade now, since I was your
Wow.
age when I was living in Japan. Uh, yeah, and so Joseph, I'd love to hear your experience too. Like, what led you to say to some of your clients, like, you need to come
Oh, that's
to
interesting.
Japan with me, and then the follow up was, what was that experience like of having you all in Japan together, and how that's now impacting the work you're doing? So let's first go back to like what
Hmm.
led you to say to your clients, you need to come, and your
You know,
colleague too. You had a consulting colleague
Yeah, and I had a client uh, who sent, luckily for me, who sent two people, to the last cohort, to the last trip, and I was just, working with them, and they started this transformation. It came from corporate that they need to transform, and they became the lean laboratory. And I thought, these leaders are, as I was working with them, they are not aligned. These people are just living in their silos, and they are so damaged by the corporate, EBITDAs and all these, different, KPIs, and they were really frustrated. And I thought to myself, maybe if I'll take them with me to Japan, maybe they can see better, maybe they can align better, maybe it will create will to cooperate, maybe it will help them to see that what they are trying to solve right now, it's just, it's just a mere little thing, you know in contrast to what it can be. And I asked their CEO if he would be willing to go, because I thought he's the guy. And the response back then was, no, I was already, traveling the world before, so I don't need to see anything else. I was like, but this is not about traveling. This is about, growing and evolving. I was like, no, not really. I was like, this is really bad. And then as we were working a little bit more and more and more, and with my changed approach, I broke two hearts, maybe two minds, let's say. And that was, of these two guys
Maybe
who went
connected
with
them,
me.
connected the hearts
Yes,
and the minds
that's
to
really good. That's
meaningfulness.
really good point. Yes, the meaning. I connected their minds with their hearts, and they were like they were really open. And I thought, okay, if the CEO doesn't want to go, maybe he can send these two guys. And we were so afraid, asking the CEO for not one person but two people, because they took it as a cost, definitely, you know. And the CEO was already like, okay, by all means, go. It was like it was like this quick. It was like, really? He's like, yeah, because he knew they need to change the perspective. He knew that he needs to change, and I think for him this was also an opportunity. And so the guys were like unbelievably happy. They were almost like dancing,
Yeah.
like going to Japan. And we were thinking maybe we can use this opportunity also, not only for like going to Japan, but maybe to have the opportunity to also use that learning to teach the other leaders, and to show them how a person can change through this trip. And I could see my clients, top managers who were there on the trip, to change little by little every day. Really, I could see that. We were talking about what we learned. We were talking about what they saw, and we were talking how we can apply this to their company, to their processes, to that approach, to that transformation that was already like programmed from above. you know Kind of still is a little bit of a barrier, but but they are willing to fight for doing the right thing, which for me is one of the most valuable things they can do right now for their people and for their company, to really fight for the right thing and fight for their people. And going back there and working with the people in that company, they tell me almost every time I'm there, they are different, and they changed approach. They are so good, and people from different division than these guys are. They're like, oh, they're so lucky they have them, you know because they are so nice. They work with them, they listen to people. And I'm like, guys, this is you changed. Can you see that? And they're like, did it really? Did we? Did we change that much? Is that for your people? Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. So I must say, I think that I found that client, that partner who wants to change,
Mm.
but they only show me that it's not easy. And they help me like evolve in the questions that need to be still asked. So we are not there yet. We are practicing our patience.
Yes. Well, you're walking the path, walking the way,
Yes.
right? As to,
Walking the way.
as Confucius would say. So walking the path of righteousness, or not righteousness, but walking the path of doing the right thing. And it's a long path. And I don't know if we ever get there, right? But it's just about continued learning and going towards that North Star. I mean, Mr. Yoshino will always say, that Toyota will never say that they're great or perfect either, because if we do that, then we're actually shifting our mindset of not being humble and being in a learning mindset. So there's always improvement, but you're
Yeah.
on the path. What are some of the changes that you're seeing in the two leaders that you brought, and how is that?
Mm.
And how has your relationship, I guess, evolved or grown through the experience of being together in Japan?
We became close friends. You know, they're not like clients anymore. They call me on my phone. I give them like more time that I would normally give to any of my clients. You know, I'm not charging them as much as well. But the thing is that the change is that they are now not really doing what the corporate wants. They are not doing what what basically they're not even doing what the consultant would tell them. They are listening to their people. They are willing to slow down. They are willing to really practice patience,
Mm,
and they want to know that they are doing the right things and
mm,
that they are doing things correctly. Many people just see, and I see it as well, that they are not as direct. They're not coming in and we need this many like pieces produced, this many meters produced, this much of quality and so on. They're like, let's enjoy our work here, let's enjoy our time spent together, let's learn from what we have here, because we were doing this work for many years and we have so many good people here
mm,
that were not listened to for so many years, and we lost many good people because we were not listening to them, and because and this company already has like really bad PR in the city. So let's change that through people. Let's work with our people. And I remember being on one of the first meetings with one of them, and people were like, "Oh, this is they're just gonna push us to more productivity," you know. And he was like, "No, no, guys, slow down, slow down. We don't need to we don't need to achieve this tomorrow.
mm.
If it's within a year, okay, that's fine with me, as long as we learn from each other, as long as we just tighten the community, as long as we really do the work that we know how to do. Just calm down, everybody.
Wow.
It's okay." And they were like, you could see that the confusion in their eyes. They're like, who is this guy? You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, and
Yeah.
and we're having this conversation just about a month after we got back,
Yeah.
from the last Japan cohort. So this is, really, you're saying the transformation that's happened and it's already, within just a handful of weeks, shifting how they're
Sure.
showing up. Wow. That's
That is,
incredible.
and one of them is asking for Hansei already. He's like Joseph. I heard the Hansei thing. Can we do this? So we implemented Hansei sessions. Throughout, and he all of a sudden he's like, okay, my people want this. My people think this, and this is actually kind of not really working. So let's improve that. So and next month we are having like proper whole day Hansei workshop, you know where he told me, and I don't want to be leading this, I want you to lead this, and I want to be just the guy from the people. I need to open up myself to the people, and I need to show them that I'm just a human, just another person from the team, not just I'm leading this, and you tell me, because
Mm.
he fears that people will be closed,
Wow.
we will be afraid. He said, no, no fear here. Yeah.
Would he have
So
would he have invested a day in Hansei and reflection before going to the Japan trip?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't
The
think so. He would be afraid that he's going to lose his productivity. And it's just the shift is so great for me that I feel like I need to fight for these guys. That
Mm,
it's part of my mission there as well, because if the company would not see their value now, they will be super valuable in different company as well. By all means, definitely. But I feel like this is also something that they want to practice with their people. They don't want to not only do it for them, but they do not want to fail their team.
mm.
They think about, okay, this is not me and my division, but this is me among my people. And I feel like now they are really ready to fight for them. They want to protect them, which is something that I haven't seen in many companies, really.
That's awesome, and you were the instigator for helping them have this transformational experience and now walking alongside them. So what a powerful story about how you investing in your own learning now is really truly growing a chain of learning, right? So you invested in
Sure.
yourself. You had this transformational experience of coming first, in 2024 to Japan with me and having these experiences, creating the meaningful 5S, totally shifting your approach to how you're engaging with the executives and your clients, and then bringing your clients along, and they're now growing that transformation for people first. And I love that. That makes my heart sing, because that's my mission too, to connect the hearts and minds of people around the world so that together we can make it a better place. And we often just
Yeah.
focus on the mind and the problems and the technical side. And obviously you have the heart in there, but you reconnected with the heart as it relates to the business purpose too.
Absolutely. But I must say it started with your book, actually.
Tell me
It
more.
started
Like,
there.
yeah, how did learning to lead, leading to learn inspire your heart?
Well, uh, first of all, I bought it because of the title. You know, I bought. I'm not much of a like reader. I'm more of a like audio learner. So I listen to my books in my car, where I spend most of my time. In the car. But I was struggling for many years because I felt like I'm not having impact. And remember, this is still in the time I was blaming my customers, for not helping me deliver for them. And I sensed, I knew that I need to work with the management, because every time I work on something with the people in the process, the management doesn't pull. They don't just pull through. They don't go with the people towards like the finishing line. And it's not, nothing is sustainable. So I thought to myself, leaders, managers, all these these keywords, like the buzzwords were in my head. And all of a sudden I saw on Audible, I saw this, learning to lead, leading to learn. I was like,
Mhm.
this sounds interesting. Okay, especially the second part, leading to learn. I was like, all right. And then from experience of Toyota leader, Yoseo Ishino, I was like, this is the book for me. I need to. So I bought it. I listened to it like on the spot. I just digested the whole thing, during the very long trip to
You
Poland.
had my voice in your
And
ear for 8 hours.
exactly. And Mr. Yoshino's as well. There are parts where he's talking. I've never listened to a book like this, never ever before,
Mhm.
because this was like a real story of a real person, and having this experience from Toyota. And it just showed the humbleness of the person. It showed how he was evolving, that he also had like bad bosses, but also how he transformed, how it helped him, to like experience something that he would not experience, otherwise. How determined he was to pursue something. He learned English, by himself. He went to America, he took his family there, and he failed big time. And they thanked him for that, that he was brave. It was like, you know this is unbelievable. Yes. And then you know how it is, from like with the trips into Japan, you get like certain pieces of information from listening to the book or reading the book once. So I listened again and again and again. I think I listened to the book like 15 times already, and I'm still getting, new and new information from it. But I remember when when I thought to myself, I would like to, at least like experience something like that. I would like to work with clients who behave like that, like Toyota behaves towards Mr. Yoshino. And then you said during the audio, you said, and by the way, I'm doing these trips to Japan. I would like, if you would like to go, just go to that, URL. And it's like when I arrived to, my destination, I didn't go to hotel. I was reading through your website on my phone, because I was so full of it. I was like, I need to go to Japan. I really need to experience this. And the more I was learning from your website and from the YouTube, and then we connected. I was talking to you, and you sent me these, through bubble up. You send our the next, learning material, and the sessions. I was like, this is like for me, it was like I'm at a really good spot. This is the right spot to be. And I was just constantly digesting new and new stuff that kept me like motivating. It was like, and I was still listening to that book. I was like, this is something that I really needed. It was like really, uh like, I'm not a religious guy, but it was like God given at the right time for me. really.
Well, thank you. I'm so honored that it's had such an impact on you. And yes, if like your energy and your positive spirit is like, this is what it's all about, and us connecting together. And I'm so appreciative, and of course would love to host you and more clients in the future in Japan. We will make it happen. But most importantly, it's what you and
Great.
they are doing, and the transformation you've had, and how you're now helping other people grow and learn and get on doing lean the right way, doing the right thing.
Mm.
And that's how we're really going to have the positive impact in the world and truly grow this chain of learning. So thank
I
you.
believe that. I believe that. I believe that really, really from the bottom of my heart. And I think if, it's not governments who can save our world, it's the companies taking care of their people, really, and about taking care of the communities, And that's what I saw in Japan with the school children, people around, enough foods. It was just unbelievable, say, experience for me that only showed me that this is really the thing. This is really the case. Companies are the way to go. Companies are the platform that will help us, save maybe even this world. Really.
As we wrapped up, I asked Josef what advice he'd give other consultants and change leaders looking to make a shift towards greater impact with their clients, with the leaders they work with, for their organizations, and for themselves.
The most important thing that it was also for me to help the client understand why they need lean. Through that experience, help them decide whether they want to do this or not. That's the most important thing. They need to be serious about doing this. Using just the tools is not enough. It all goes down to leadership really knowing what lean is about and deciding if they want to do this, if they want to change their way of leadership, because otherwise this will not work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is I think the most impactful thing that helped me change not only my career, but I think also partially also the way how I see my life.
Joseph's story of transformation is a powerful reminder that the real journey of lean and leadership starts with us. It's not about the tools, it's about how we show up with intention, with clarity, with purpose. I especially loved it when Josef said, I used to think my job was just to do what the client asked. Now I know I'm here to help them see what's possible. That shift from compliance to transformation, from doing the work for others to creating the space for them to grow, is what creates lasting impact. And this is exactly what I talked about with Betsy Jordan back in episode 41, From Transaction to Transformation. Go back and listen to that episode if you haven't already. As you reflect on this episode and Josef's transformation, consider these key takeaways and recommendations that he offered for other consultants and change agents like you, whether you're internal or external, if you want to create real long-term impact. 1, start with purpose, not tools. Help your clients clarify why they want lean or improvement, not just what tools they think they need or want to implement. 2, coach the leaders first. Sustainable change starts at the top. Don't begin with a front line, begin with leadership. 3, be willing to challenge your clients. Ask better questions, hold up the mirror, speak the hard truths with care and courage. 4, take shared accountability for success. Don't just deliver, co-create. Real impact comes from when you step into ownership too. 5, meet people where they are. Transformation begins with empathy and understanding, not by pulling people to your level. 6, shift from compliance to engagement. Without meaningful connection to purpose, even the best tools will fall flat and not sustain. And 7, practice patience. Real change takes time. What would it look like to embrace long-term thinking and help your clients to do the same? Now, reflect on how you're showing up and leading the way as a change leader. What results are you seeing from how you're coaching and influencing the leaders you work with? What is one change that you can make to your approach this week to better connect back to the heart, the real purpose of what lean and continuous improvement should truly be about? I'd love to hear what you're learning and put into action. If this conversation has sparked something for you and you're realizing that you want to deepen your own understanding of the heart and soul of operational excellence, I invite you to join me in Japan for an upcoming Japan leadership experience. You'll walk the same learning journey Josef did, alongside remarkable leaders from around the globe, sharing conversations and reflections, and gaining rare insights directly from Japanese executives and companies. Want a preview of the learning? Check out episodes 42 and 43 of Chain of Learning, where I talk with my Japan partner and translator, Tim Woolput, about what it means to do the right thing and how foundational elements of Japanese management often get lost in translation in our more tool-based, outcome-focused Western approach. This month marks the 5-year anniversary of the launch of my book, Learning to Lead, Leading to Learn, Lessons from Toyota leader Isao Yoshino on a lifetime of continuous learning, which Joseph credits as the catalyst for his transformation. If you haven't read it, or it's time for a fresh reread, you can find it at learningtolead.leadingtolearn.com in your favorite online bookseller. The book is now available in 8 languages and in paperback, hardcover, and audiobook in English. So you can bring me and Mr. Yoshino along on your next car ride, just like Joseph did. If you found today's episode meaningful, I'd be so grateful if you take a moment to rate and review it on your favorite podcast player or YouTube. It helps more leaders discover the show and grow our global chain of learning. Thanks for being a part of my chain of learning today. See you next time. Have a great day.